Well, hey, org leadership folks, this video is intended to talk you through the articles that are part of the Eikenberry book and how you need to prepare to do those things, what it should look like when they're done, and how I'm going to grade those things. First of all, you notice that there are 4 of them, 1 per week. What I want you to do is look through the chapters for that week. And I've got my Eikenberry book right here. The first week that we're going to do the articles on, you've got the option of remarkable leaders either champion change or communicate powerfully or build relationships. As you read those articles, look for a big idea in there that means something to you, and let one of those 3 things, champion change, communicate powerfully, or build relationships, let that be the thing that you really want to focus on for this project or this assignment. And then with that concept in mind, champion change, go to the academic literature using Galileo. I think there's a link at the top of our homepage in Georgia View. I've got the password to Galileo toward the end of our syllabus, so log into Galileo and do a search on leadership and change or something like that, or championing change or something like that, and see what kind of articles come up from academic empirical kinds of studies where they're trying to measure championing change and how leaders do that differently than other people or whatever. Something that's academic, that is a research study that ties to that idea. Then when you found one that you like, print it off. I don't need it, but having it handy gives you the chance to highlight things, underline things, make notes in the margins, so forth. And then I want you to read that thing and see if you can kind of summarize it. If you were to take it to work the next day and tell somebody about that article, be able to tell them what the highlights of that article, what you learned from it in just what would be a minute or 2 summary of the thing. And then when you've got that, I want you to create a Word document that really has 3 parts. The first part, and you don't have to put your name on it, you don't have to put Article 1, you don't have to put organizational leadership or Spring 19 or Dr. Grimes or any of that kind of stuff. I know all of that kind of stuff. I know that it's Article 1 because it's in the Article 1 Dropbox. The only thing that I don't know is which chapter you picked. So I would say in the header part of your Word document, just put Chapter 4, Champion Change, or something like that, so that I can glance at the thing and I can know what it is that you're writing about. And then on the very first line, I want you to put the APA reference format, or format reference, that tells me where this article is found if I'm interested and want to go look it up myself. So the first 2 lines maybe. Incidentally, this whole thing is going to be single-spaced. It's going to be, or let's say it's either 1.1, forget that single space thing. It's either 1.15 or it's 1.5, whatever's easiest for you, but there's a little bit of space in between. It doesn't have to be any additional spacing between paragraphs, so don't set it up for 0 points before and 6 point or 8 point afterwards. Hopefully you know enough about Word to go in and change those settings. So it's 0 before and 0 after, but it's 1.15 or 1.5 spacing. It's Calibri font, 11 point. I really like those. It's easy for me to read. I'm accustomed to that. On the very first line, you've got your APA reference, and typically that is the names of the authors, and then the year, and then the title of the article, and then the title of the journal, and then the volume and issue number and the page numbers. You'll also have a URL link. I'm not worried about that. Even if that's proper APA formatting for an article that you found online, I don't really care about that. Just get the basic APA stuff, which is authors, the year of publication, the title of the article, the title of the journal, the volume and the issue number, and the page numbers. And put that in there on the first 2 lines maybe. It may be that it takes 3 lines or it's only 1 line, but that's the first part. Then skip a full line. And then I want you to, in the course of a paragraph, summarize what that article said. What were the highlights that you got out of there? You don't have to really get any depth in terms of what the numbers were, if they have tables and charts and things like that. There's going to be a section toward the end. Certainly the first part of it is going to be what they were trying to do, how they went about doing it. And then there's going to be a summary or a conclusions or an application or something like that. What is this article telling us about leadership? Summarize that in a good paragraph, maybe 2 paragraphs, where you kind of talk about the highlights of the article itself. and then skip a line, and then tell me what you think it means or why you think it's important or valuable or interesting to you. So the first part, the part one, is just simply the APA format. That's right or wrong. The second part is, what did the article say? The summary of the ideas. The third part is, what did you like about it? So the second part is pretty technical, perhaps. It's very factual. The third part is really kind of your feeling and your philosophy and your like and dislike, or how you can use that to be a better leader, that kind of thing. Apply that to real life. One of the bad things about journal articles is that they're very stuffy, they're very dry. We who write them want to show this great information that we've discovered, but it's not always real practical. How do you take it and use it? And that's what I want you to do in part 3. How am I going to use this? What did I like about it? What was interesting about it? Why did I choose it instead of some other articles that I found? From a grading perspective, there's a rubric out there that I'm going to use. I put it into the format of an Excel file, and I attached it to the first assessment or article. Up to 2 points for the APA format. It's either right or it's not. 2 points if it's right, 1 point if it's close to being right, and 0 points if it's way off or if you didn't do it. The summary of ideas is worth 6 points out of 20. You either did an excellent job, a good job, or a poor job, and that's completely subjective on my part. But if you really seem to get the main ideas, there's no reason why you shouldn't get 6 out of 6 on that. If it feels like, without having read the article, that you've got to have missed something because something is obviously deficient in this, it may be 4 or 2. The application is the most important part. That's worth 8 points out of 20. How well do you draw real life practical ideas out of that thing? Either you get an excellent job, a good job, or a fair job. 8 points, 6 points, or 4 points. But spelling and grammar is also important. By the time you're a master's student, you ought to be able to write well. You ought to be able to spell well. And with Word and the grammar check, it tells you where you've messed up. So as I'm reading it online, if I see spelling errors, if I see really poorly worded sentences or things like that, I'm going to make mental notes. And you can get 4 points on your spelling and your grammar. Either, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I rarely ever achieve perfect documents, but I try hard. If it's close, if you know, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on a couple of words or a couple of little grammar things. If it's close, it's 4 points out of 4. If there's too many things to really say, this is not MBA level work, then it's only 3. And if there's just way too many things, some MBA students write very poorly, and I honestly don't know how they get through the MBA program when they don't write any better than they do. It's only 2. So if you do everything else really well, you could still get 2 out of 4 perhaps, and still get a really good grade on this. So the APA reference, the summary of the ideas from the article, the application to real life, and how well did you write it is the short version of the 20 points that those articles are worth. You only do 4 of them, and you get feedback before you have to write the next one. So hopefully that's going to make a whole lot of sense, and you'll understand what you do. I don't have one that I can post out there that's a great example of what somebody did in the past, because it's been several years since I've taught this class. But maybe you've got a vision of what I'm trying to do here. And by the time you get the first set of feedback, if it's not exactly what I'm looking for, the feedback helps you to really focus in on what to do next time. Shouldn't be real hard. Hopefully you'll find something that's interesting to read on Galileo, and you'll do a very good job of summarizing that so that I learn a little bit in the process as well. Text me or email me or post on the Ask Dr. Grimes discussion board if something's not clear about this. Otherwise, look forward to getting your stuff. It'll be the same thing for all 4 of the articles as we go over the next few weeks. Bye for now.